Welcome to Andhra. Welcome to Andhra. Today we have Ms. Tahira, who is a research scholar in JNU, and she is here with us to discuss about the results of Uttar Pradesh. Thank you, Tahira, for joining us. How do you see the Uttar Pradesh progression in this election? Because no one expected more than 10 seats for India Alliance during the exit polls. But now we can see it's almost 50-50 for NDA versus India Alliance. How do you see the results?
Okay, so thanks for calling me. And I think like most of the people were not looking at rural youth, and that
Yeah.
is something which has changed the majority of the exit polls. I think the exit polls, what they were doing is looking at the urban majority of Uttar Pradesh, and they were talking about that. But no one actually went on the ground and see what was happening on the ground. People in the rural UP, in the rural areas, already talking about unemployment, Agniveer Yojana, and all of that. Even I would
Hmm.
say a lot of even traders were complaining about GST, and it has been since
Okay.
10 years. Like I come from Raebareli, so I've been hearing all about that. So I think when people the major point was that nobody saw the elections on the ground. Nobody was actually running what was happening in the ground. Nobody was actually looking at that. Rural this
Okay.
election in the like UP, I think, is winning by Samajwadi Party through the rural people. I
Okay.
won't take it into urban middle class, but it's the rural people who are facing unemployment and inflation, and they have voted against BJP.
Okay, but the unemployment issue, the GST issue, and many other issues that has become concerns now are existing even in 2019 also. But what changed the mind of the people? Because when I was speaking to one of my fellow journalists who is running an independent media house there, he said that
Hmm.
constitution and reservation become a major concern
Yeah,
in
yeah,
this election in rural Uttar Pradesh.
yeah, yeah,
And how
yeah.
did that happen? What impacted that?
Yeah, I agree. I forgot to mention that, but yes, there is a huge wave in UP about this. At least even in the rural and urban both areas, that the BJP is going to change the constitution, and that
Okay.
yes, that also became a major one of the major issues. I mean, yes, and unemployment. I think in 2019, I would say the people were still thinking that we should still give a chance to BJP. That he has just that Mr. Modi has just worked for 5 years. We must give him a chance. So there was this wave also, but it's already 10 years. So people are already frustrated. Like even if you talk
Okay.
about the BJP was saying a lot of women voters are there. So because they have been giving 5 kilogram of ration to the women folks, but the women folk
Hmm.
even in the rural section they are saying that you don't like five kg of ration is literally nothing if you are really looking forward to a month. So all that I think that was also one of the major reasons that women voters did not vote for Modi. But yes, reservation became a very important issue. I was not on the ground as such, but I heard from a lot of people that when they started talking, like a lot of the BJP leaders in the beginning said that if they get majority, if they get more than 400 seats, they will change the constitution. And it resonated with a lot of people that if the constitution is changed, their reservation is going, they're already not progressing, and the progress will be halted more. So I think that
Okay.
did constitute a lot of change on the ground. Yes.
Okay. But the Ram Mandir,
Yeah.
BJP portrayed Ram Mandir as their victorious move, and Prime
Hmm.
Minister Narendra Modi himself mentioned that the opposition parties didn't participate in the Ram Mandir ceremony, and they are becoming anti-Hindus and anti-nationals. The propaganda was going like that. Didn't that impact the voters?
So I'll say in January and even in February, Ram Mandir was a huge issue, and we were not expecting this huge wave, especially in UP. But I think by the time the electoral bonds issue came up, and then especially what I felt like that especially Arvind Kejriwal's arrest, because a lot of people in the local channels, what I heard, was saying that Modi has become a dictator because
Hmm.
you cannot jail a sitting PM. So all of these
Hmm.
at the end became an issue, which I think even BJP was not expecting, because by
Okay.
in February I was like when I was talking to people in February and March, it felt like obviously Modi is going to win, BJP is coming to power, but in the end, Kejriwal's arrest did made a lot of change.
Okay, and there is another issue, that is the caste issue. Because
Hmm.
whenever the BJP's victory is being hailed, there is a mention about the caste and the social engineering of the BJP. The non-Yadav and the non-Jadav consolidation that made the BJP more victorious in the recent days. But in the last few weeks, we heard news that the same social engineering which gave them the victory now is going to defeat them. Is that happening? Because the farmer Jat
I,
issues, Rajput
yeah,
issues, SCST
yeah.
issues, how do you see that and what is happening around the
I
castes?
No, the caste system, the caste social engineering is already is changing on the ground. That is one thing. But I think one of the major things that happened is SP and Congress also worked on that.
Okay.
Nobody's looking
Hmm.
how they actually. I am not like I cannot give you the data as such, but I think they actually properly managed to seek out a social engineering in terms of seats, which
Okay.
specifically SP, which changed a lot of things. Like I would
Okay.
still say a lot of BJP supporters are upper caste, but with this
Hmm.
the Agniveer issue and obviously the Jat issue and the farmers issue, they changed a lot of things. And I'd again reiterate the major one of the major points of the reservation, that the reservation and the
Hmm.
changing of the constitution, that became a huge issue among the Dalits and OBC. So nobody was looking at that.
Hmm.
So some of the issues, like it's just 2 months
Okay.
that changed a lot of things in UP, which was not expected. Like even
Okay.
in JNU, people were not expecting this. And I think the whole of India
Okay.
was not expecting anything from UP. But what I was following
Okay.
during the whole session was the local UP channels. And they were
Okay.
showing a tremendous change. They were showing
Okay.
a tremendous change, and majority of the people which I was seeing from central UP, they were talking about unemployment, inflation, Agniveer. They also talked about Kejriwal's issue. That's what like that made a huge impact. Like social media had a huge impact. I think people are not following
Okay.
how much the social media is impacting the people even in the rural UP. I think that is one of the
Okay.
factors which nobody is looking at.
Okay, considering all the issues that you have mentioned, it seems that the issues all are in favor of Behenji. Behenji has always spoken about constitution, has always
Hmm.
spoken about the reservation
Hmm.
of SCs and STs, always spoken
Hmm.
employment issues. He is not performing in this election.
Hmm.
What caused this and what happened to the vote bank of Mayawati ji?
As much as look, I would definitely say I don't know much about on specifically on Behenji and Mayawati. But as much as my understanding goes, and I am like talking to people and looking at it, a lot of because people don't like even Dalit votes. Majority of the students in JNU, they don't know. We don't know exactly what is happening with Mayawati ji or what she's actually looking forward to. So all these votes shifted to SP. This is what happened.
Okay,
And I,
okay,
frankly speaking, I cannot exactly tell why did they
okay,
shift. But because they,
okay,
I think, like at least in Muslim voters, like
okay.
there's this information trailing that BJP that they are actually with BJP now.
How do you estimate the rise of Samajwadi Party and Congress there?
I think Samajwadi Party was working on the ground since last 5 years. They were really working on the ground, but it was not showing up in elections, which actually people showed this time.
Okay,
Congress, yes, Congress has emerged this time. Like I think Rahul Gandhi resonated with a lot of youngsters talking about
okay,
unemployment and inflation, and that resonated. The constitution resonated because if you see Rahul Gandhi's rallies, he was just talking about the constitution and the reservation. So I think two, three things which helped Congress was constitution, was the farmers' protest. Unemployment has been a major issue. Like I belong from Raebareli, and uh, whatever local channels and people I was talking to, they were just completely talking about unemployment and inflation, like two of the major issues, at least in Raebareli, which I could see was unemployment and inflation. Even people were not even talking about the Ram Mandir.
hmm, hmm.
People are trying to tell, like the majority of the people were saying that these are two different issues. Like that's the issue of faith. So it's
Okay.
done and it's done. Like the Ram Mandir is already there, but we have to live life, and we have to like get basic. We have to meet the basic necessities of life, and comes with an
Mm.
employment. And the God also doesn't say, like the God also talks about the karma. So I've seen a lot of
Okay.
people talking about unemployment and inflation and reservation, and these two three things worked in favor of Congress, and they resonated with Rahul Gandhi. So I think for
Okay.
Rahul Gandhi, that's the major issue, but that's the major thing that worked, that helped him. But for Samajwadi Party, I would say they were still working on the ground when they were not in power. So I think that resonated with most of the people.
Okay, okay. One last question. How do you see the situation now? Because as of now, no party got majority to form a government. So it is
Yeah,
going to be a coalition government. And what's
yeah.
your view about that? And whom do you think will form the coalition government?
I think I mean this is a very very contested elections. Like it's very close now, so I cannot say who's going to win, but I think it's going to be a strong opposition, and I think that's good for democracy, that at least we would have a strong opposition. Like in last 10 years, I would say we didn't have a strong opposition, so I cannot say who exactly will win, because let's wait till evening and see. But I'm very happy that there would be a strong opposition whosoever wins.
Okay. Thank you, Tahira, for joining us and sharing your thoughts about Uttar Pradesh and the general elections 2024. Let's stay awake and look up to the election results and what's happening tomorrow also. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.